That's it. Hey, everyone. Whoa. Yeehaw. That's it. Hello over here. Hang on, where are we going? We're out of control. Hello, best seats in the house. We've arrived. Thank you very much. My mouse droid. Give him a round of applause. Shoo, go on. Go on. Off you go. Is he a good boy? There he goes. He's off. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Droids, a very special show. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. I really am. Are you having a good celebration? Yeah? I can't believe how fast it's gone, though. We're already here at the last of 4 days, but we've had some great times here on this stage. I'm sure you've had wonderful times out all amongst the convention exhibits, etc. I haven't really had much time to walk around. It's a little bit tricky for me. I've tried various disguises, but none of them seem to work. So, although the most effective one, who was here at Billy D. Williams' show the other day? Who saw that? Yeah. I got myself one of those Lando disguise kits, and yeah, it worked like a treat. So, yeah, although people kept asking me for autographs as Billy D. Williams, which was a bit weird. Okay, we got some best seats in the house over here. I'm going to say hello to you good people. How's it going?
Very well, how are you?
What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Danny from Orlando.
Are you really? And
Yes.
how did you manage to get to sit up on stage here? What did you do?
You know, Mark Daniel's just a really nice guy.
He is a nice guy, isn't he? He's a very nice guy.
He picked me and Emily because we were C-3PO and R2-D2.
Fabulous. Now, are you cosplaying or is this your usual attire?
It's close to the usual. I've heard this called casual cosplay. Someone told me that this
Is
week.
it? And you accidental?
It's casual. It's cool.
Very
it's casual.
good. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Welcome to the stage. Hello. What's your name?
I'm Megan.
Megan. Now, you look like you're a fan of R2-D2 and Droids.
I am
Got the
a
skirt
little
on the
bit.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
And is this your little
That's
thing?
actually her tauntaun.
Oh, you keep
Hers.
it. Hold on. Good. And you excited to be on stage here?
Very excited.
What are you most looking forward to about this show?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm just really overwhelmed right now.
You see, to be honest, I don't quite know what's going to happen. I know
Yeah.
I've got a guest, but that's all I know at this point. Okay. Hello, who are you and what's your name?
My name is Aisling. I'm from North Carolina.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Now, who amongst all of you thinks they know characters from Star Wars? Who knows characters? You're not sure? You're not so sure? You think you do? Do you know characters? Not sure? Who's the expert here? What about you here? We got a, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, you think you want to play a game?
Sure.
A Star Wars game?
Of course.
All right then, follow me over here. Let's do it. Come on. Take a seat on the couch.
Thank you.
Okay, so who are you and what's your name?
My name is Aiden.
And you're playing K2SO at the moment.
Correct.
Excellent. Is this your favorite droid?
Yes, actually.
It is, yes. And can you see very much from within there?
A little bit.
A little bit. Can you see the screen to your left?
Absolutely.
Okay, right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you 3 images. They are scenes from Star Wars, and the head of the character will be covered with the R2-D2 dome. You have to identify who the character is. Simple.
Sure.
Slightly more difficult probably through these eyes, but have a look over there and tell me who this first image is. Who's that?
Oh, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
No, it's BB-8.
It's BB-8. Let's have a look. Yes, it's BB-8. Well done. Okay, let's have the next image. Oh. Oh. Who's that one?
Looks a little familiar.
Really?
I think it's Wicket.
It's Wicket. Let's see. Yes, it is Wicket, the Ewok there. Okay, the third and final image. Who's that?
Well, that's the very dashing Poe Dameron.
Let's see if it is. Yes, there he is, the dashing Poe Dameron. Well done, congratulations. You have won a prize. And I don't currently know where that prize is, but it'd be nice to have it. Here it is. Look, my beautiful assistant has brought this on, and it's an R2-D2 hat. There it is for you. And a little BB-8, which is fun. Yeah. But they've made a round character into like a hexagonal bag, which is interesting. Is this a hacky sack? That they call it a hacky sack. You do that, and you're supposed to catch it again, I think. You go, boom, oh, again. Sorry. Just indulge me one more time. I want to get it right. We're streaming live. Yes! Okay. Thanks very much for playing R2-D2. There we go. Right. What's up next? Okay. Let's get this show started, shall we? Everyone excited? Yes. Whoop-de-woo. Here we go. Now, when you think of Star Wars, and I know you often do, there are a few things that immediately come to mind. We've polled thousands, and we think we have the top 5 answers, the things you think of when you think of Star Wars. But I'll ask you as well, when you think of Star Wars, right, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Shout it out now. Is that good? Yes, that's right. The number 1 answer is Ewoks. Always Ewoks. Exactly what you said. So, good. So that's the number 1 thing. That's exactly what our poll responded. And after Ewoks, when you guys think of Star Wars, right, what comes to mind? Yeah, that's right. More Ewoks. Good. It's a good chart so far. Now, I tell you, if Disney and Lucasfilm are listening, there's your next movie right there. It's the standalone film called Revenge of the Ewoks. Okay. What else? Shout it out. What do you think of? Think of Star Wars. What's coming to mind? Yes, of course, lightsabers. Yeah, it was lightsabers. Wow, I've just thought that standalone film just got a lot better. Ewoks with lightsabers. It's going to be fantastic. Hang on a minute, that's just a stick. That's better. That's better. Oh, yeah. Although, you have to watch out for singeing. Yeah. Ewoks are highly flammable. Be careful. Oh. Hey, Wicked, are you just pleased to sit? No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Sorry. Okay. Great family entertainment. Good. Now, what else do we associate with Star Wars? Okay, shout something else out. We got more stuff. What? That's right, the Force. Of course, the Force is a very important part of Star Wars. The Force, we have it there. And finally, what else is in this top 5? One more thing missing. What else have we got? That's right, it's droids. Yes, Star Wars is full of them. They come in all shapes and sizes and attitudes. Some are good, some are bad. In Rogue One, a bad one became a good one because it was reprogrammed. And regardless, if you love Star Wars, you love droids. Am I right? Well, then you're in the right show. So please show me some droids.
There are a lot of explosions for 2 people blending in.
Freeze, right there.
You're right. I should just wait on the ship.
No more adventures. I'm not going that way. You know, that little droid's gonna cause me a lot of trouble.
Oh, he excels at that.
Ow! Hey, what? This R2 unit has a bad motivator, look!
What message?
Don't follow me. Town is that way.
Maybe we should leave target practice behind.
Navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
It's high. It's very high.
Without a doubt, it saved the ship as well as our lives.
Congratulations. You are being rescued.
You did it!
You're a feisty little one.
I say, over there! Were you looking for me? Roger, roger.
Listen to them. They're dying, R2. Are you sure this thing is safe?
Then they shut the gate, and we're all annihilated in the cold, dark vacuum of space.
Not me. I can survive in space.
Now, we really can't talk about droids today without acknowledging the loss of a man who helped to bring one of the most iconic and beloved droids to life in our hearts forever, our dear friend Kenny Baker. Absolutely. Now, Kenny was not only a close and dear friend of mine since the age of 11, he was an inspiration to me. And through Kenny's misfortune during the filming, it became my good fortune. But Kenny was such a brilliant person in heart and spirit, he took it very well. I'll tell you the story if you haven't heard it already. While we were filming, fortunately, I was one of 6 Ewoks selected to go to Northern California to complete the filming for the Battle of Endor section of Return of the Jedi. And Kenny was also one of those Ewoks. He played the character of Paplu. But originally, he was Wicket on all of the call sheets. And it came to the morning of the filming of the scene with Wicket and Princess Leia, where Wicket discovers Princess Leia after she's crashed the speeder bike. And poor old Kenny was taken down with food poisoning. And the producers obviously were in a bit of a quandary. And they called on me from the hotel. They said, we want to bring Warwick in early today for a scene. And from that point on, I became the character of Wicket. I played out that scene. And Kenny became the Ewok Paplu, also, as well as doing R2-D2. But Kenny never resented that at all, and he was always so encouraging and so supportive of me at that time, and also throughout my career. And we always got on tremendously, and I've got some wonderful, wonderful fond memories of Kenny. He's was such a gentleman, but at the same time had such humor and such life, and such a big heart for a small man. And I was so sad when I heard the news. On August 13th, 2016, we all said goodbye to our dear friend Kenny Baker, but he will remain in our hearts forever. And for me, he'll always be R2-D2.
I think more than anything else with Star Wars is the characters have always been a surprise and a delight as they've come to life. Because eventually you actually take a real person and stick them into that character. And that real person brings with him or her an enormous reality. And when it goes onto the screen, it's magic. Hi, Kenny. How you doing?
I was working in the West End of London in Canary, and my agent, he said, there's a guy in London looking for someone to be inside a robot. So I was sort of sent down for sort of an audition, really, and walked in, and they were all in the offices, and all they did was say, he'll do. Yeah, I bet he'll do, because I was the right size, really. When there's dialogue going on, and I'm reacting to the dialogue, or being spoken to by somebody, but I have to sort of move and look left, look right, shake, say yes, say no. I have to kind of get into a rhythm with it.
R2! R2-D2, it is you! It is you!
I did other films as well. I did Time Bandits and Elephant Man and Hunchback of Notre Dame and Amadeus. And quite a few good films, actually. I was very lucky to be involved with some good films. I go to America and they all know me as Kenny Baker, you know. It always surprises me how many people do know me. It's great, yeah.
Kenny Baker there, someone whom I'll always look up to. Not literally, obviously. So part of the Star Wars kind of fandom is all about building droids as well. It's as much about celebrating them on screen as creating your own. And there's a huge kind of army of people around the world who love to build droids. And what I thought I'd like to do in this show is actually challenge some members of the audience to build their own droid during the course of this show. So I'm going to need 5 volunteers for this, although do remember, if you come and accept this challenge, you won't see the show. You'll be backstage building a droid, okay? So if you're prepared to miss the show but take part in this droid building challenge, then raise your hand now. Mark will come and select you and bring you up onto my stage. So let's get your hands up if you want to take part in this. Right. If you think you're handy, if you're good with DIY, electronics, that sort of thing, you want to help build a droid, then make your way up here now. And while Mark's doing that, we've got some items here. This is what you're going to be using. I'm going to gather together a few odds and ends here, and we're going to, that's your kit there. And I've got some things under here, actually, I've collected. A few bits and pieces in here as well. We've got some gaffer tape, some saran wrap, don't know what that is, and some cables. So all this stuff's going to be useful, so we'll put that with it. How are we getting on, Mark? We got our people yet? Our droid builders. Come on, make your way down here. That's it. Good. That's it. Come on then, quickly now.
One more.
There's a droid to build here.
One more.
Does anyone, does anyone here build their own droids at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah, quite a few builders in the house already. Fantastic. It's a great hobby, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of, it's a challenging one, though, because you have to have skills in electronics, in kind of construction, fabrication, all of that sort of thing.
I've got them all.
And I've got a great story as well. You know, when Kathleen Kennedy, she came to her first celebration in Essen, Germany, a few years ago, just before they started production on the new films. And she was so taken by the skills of the droid builders that she actually employs those guys now to make the droids that we see in The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rogue One, etc. So it's fantastic they have that opportunity, but they bring all of those skills they've honed over years of doing this. Right, we've got our droid builders. Welcome. I'll say hello to you briefly now. There you go. Thanks for accepting this challenge. Nice to meet you. Cool. Right, so there's your stuff. Grab hold of that. Make your way into the wings and get building, and we look forward to seeing the results at the end. And we'll check in with you every so often to see your progress. We've got a camera back there that we can keep an eye on you with. Okay, our droid builders, everyone. Fabulous. Right, so what's next on the agenda for this show? So much to pack into this hour. So hang on a minute. What's that? Oh, hello. Oh, he's got a message for me. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. What do we have here? We've got a card here. Very good. Didn't you have another one of these for me? No? You were supposed to have another one of these for me, but anyway, I'll let you scurry away. Go on, Shoo. Thank you very much. They're very useful, these are. Excellent. I've got one with a vacuum attachment as well, and it sort of hoovers up the carpet. So it says on here, my first guest is Mr. Matthew Wood. Now, for those of you who don't know Matthew works at Skywalker Sound, and he's an absolute genius. He's not only provided many of the sounds that we hear and was mentored by the great Ben Burt, but Matthew has also provided voices for many of the characters and droids that we hear in the films. But before we bring him out here for a chat, let's see some of his work. Oh. We're not going to see some of his work right now. We are going to get him right on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Mr. Matthew Wood. There he is.
Hey.
Welcome, Matthew.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Very good indeed. Thank you. Take a seat there, sir. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Thank you very much.
So how's your celebration experience been so far?
Absolutely insane. I've loved it, every minute of it. You know, I can't tell you how amazing it is to have a role that's normally behind the scenes and to be able to have some connection to the fans this direct. So I love coming to these shows and then taking this energy back to the Skywalker Ranch, to our crew. We're deep into making episode 8 right now.
Yeah.
And it's so fun, and it brings so much life to us to have to come here and bring this back with us back home to Skywalker Ranch. So I just want to thank everybody for all the well wishes they've given us, and I just it's been fantastic.
Well, we also admire what you do as well. You know, I think, especially fans at events like Celebration, they really appreciate every aspect of what brings Star Wars to the screen. And, you know, the sound is a very important part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas has always talked about sound. As I've said this quote a few times here, it's 50% of our experience in the theater. You know, you have all the amazing visuals that are created, and then sound is that sort of emotional underpinning that's got to have a subconscious link to the story and basically guide you through the filmmaking process. And sound has that ability, that unique ability to do it from a very emotional standpoint.
Absolutely. Now, tell us how you got started in sound. Is it something you were doing from an early age?
Yeah, you know, my father had gone, he had a lot of business in Japan, so he would always come back with some amazing electronics. And we had a computer really early on in life, and I really got into sound through the Macintosh computer in the late 80s, and then was able to take some of my... I was also doing acting at the time. I was doing a lot of theater, and I was a kid, and I figured this blend of sound work, which I got hired at Skywalker Sound for when I was like 17 years old, my blend of sound work and my love of acting kind of came together. George Lucas gave me a lot of opportunities to use my voice in the film. In a lot of the movies, and normally taking the technology of what you're doing, processing voices in the computer, and then also using my own voice as an instrument is how that kind of came together.
Fantastic. Now tell us about working with the legendary Ben Burtt.
Oh, fantastic, man! I mean, I worked with him for 20 plus years, and he's built. He's a legend in Star Wars. He's made the lightsaber sounds, the Wookiees, the TIE fighters, the Millennium Falcon, lasers. He cuts picture, he cuts music, he's a storyteller, he's an actor, he's Wally, he's R2-D2. I mean, he's a fantastic person to work with, and really guided me in my early career on how to be one, a good person. We never really did a lot of overtime, and he was never a bad boss, and he always was encouraging in what to do. So I've really tried to maintain that with my crew as well.
Did you have a good Ben Burtt story you can tell us now?
You know, I just think it's fun sitting with him. Actually, one of the characters that I've sort of taken the mantle over from him on is the battle droids, and how those came together. He was doing some early mocap tests with the battle droids for Phantom Menace, and I remember he had done this. It was very early on, where the suits weren't as elaborate as they were now. Obviously, for Rogue One and all that, it's far more advanced. But basically, back then it was just a bunch of ping pong balls, literally, that he had on a little leotard. And he set one of the points of the ping pong ball up too high, and did all this mocap work for the battle droid. And it ended up that the battle droids ended up looking like they were walking around like this after they came out of the computer, and so their butts were up really high like that, and it was an error really, but then it ended up working. You know, it gave this kind of uneasy feel to them, and that was purely out of an accident.
That's brilliant to know. That's brilliant to know. And do you, as a sound designer and creator, have a favorite sound? It could be a natural sound in the world, or something you've created or Ben has created, perhaps.
My fondest memory of Star Wars, working on it, which I still am now, but my fondest memory was on Phantom Menace, actually, the pod race. That was just such a fun thing. George Lucas gave us a huge amount of latitude there.
So what are we hearing when we watch the pod race?
All kinds of things. I mean, I went out and recorded like a jet boat, helicopters, unmuffled Ferraris, custom-made cars on this one racetrack, rocket ships. I mean, I had months to go and pull in all these sounds. And, World War I biplanes, which are really rare. We brought these all into the studio, and Ben would do his work on them to give each pod a very distinct sound. George wanted each pod to have, Sebulba's pod to be really
Yeah,
low
they all had their own engine
and,
sounds, didn't they?
Yeah, and when you watch that, you hear those sounds, that you can very much identify them with the pod race, and it's not something that you hear every day. Star Wars is always... has a weirdness to it, it's kind of messy, it's kind of lived in and used, and that's kind of what we want to do with the sound as well.
It's fantastic what you do. We all enjoy it. Before we carry on chatting, I just want to check in with our droid builders, see how things are going. So can we have a look at what's going on backstage? Ah, look at that. There is the semblance of something beginning, although the tape, it looks a little confusing there for them. Yeah. Okay. I don't hold much hope that we're going to see anything good by the end of the show. But anyway, we'll check in with them a bit later on. Fantastic. Now, when did you start, instead of just mixing sound and creating them, actually giving them voices yourself? How did that happen?
was probably around, I mean, I worked on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. There wasn't a lot of droids in that show, but I did a lot of background sound voice work in there. George let me play a lot of background, like, you know, villains and whatnot. But
was that because you were quite good at it, or just cheap?
Probably, but I'd say probably more so cheap than good. You can't have, what is it, the three things, cheap, good, and fast. You can only pick two. George gave me a lot of opportunity there, and then he had me play like Bib Fortuna in the pod race. I got to do that. That's the only time my face is in the movie, but I don't actually speak. So all the other roles I've played have been speaking but no face. So there hasn't been one to synergistically get those together yet, but I'm waiting. So I'll have to hit Ryan Johnson up for that. But yeah, I just started experimenting with my voice on various characters in Phantom Menace, and then went forward from there. I played, I can't even remember. There's a lot of little creatures and stuff that I played, but the real opening of that was General Grievous, who's slightly a droid. He's kind of cybernetic. He's got some biological components to him, which we tried to illustrate with a cough. There he is. But that was a funny story how I got that. You know, I basically submitted my name anonymously because I didn't want George Lucas to kind of laugh it off that I even was going to audition, but it ended up that my name amongst 20 other actors got in, and George actually liked it, so I had to sort of Jedi mind trick George Lucas to get the role.
Wow. So you submitted your audition under a false name, and then he chose that one.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So you were obviously the best.
I guess.
There was no
for whatever he
favoritism.
wanted. Yeah, it was. I think I had the advantage of knowing what he wanted, and it was partially out of frustration because the producer was like, Matt, Industrial Light and Magic needs the final voice to animate this. You know, they had all the body movement because it was a purely 100% digital performance, so the voice was the last thing to sort of put that together. So that opened a lot of doors. Doing the Grievous voice was really fun for me.
Yeah.
And then after that, Dave Filoni coming on to the Clone Wars series, he came in really utilizing me. So he had me do all kinds of droids and different things for his show. I did, I was probably in 80 different episodes of acting on that one. And the heartfelt one that I really love are the battle droids. That's been really fun to play those guys.
They're a lot of fun. So you're all over Star Wars. Well, it's fantastic to have you do what you do. And I'm actually just looking here. I'm missing my last question. I did have a really good question, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, hang on. Hang on.
Here we come.
To save the day once again. Oh, hang on. He's got more than a question on here. What else have we got here? So we've got my last question. And, play a cookie as well.
Wow,
hang on a minute.
very nice.
Hang on a minute. Just going to sort him out before he leaves. Okay. Off you go. Have that a little bit later on. Thank you very much. Oh. They are no longer the best seats in the house.
Yes. Very nice. Look at the reflexes.
Yeah. That
Amazing.
was good. My word. Is that...
keep the change.
Well, are you all right? Are you all right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's embarrassing. Right, so this is the final question.
I'm ready, yes. Final question.
Which hopefully was worth waiting for.
How do I top that?
Why are droids so loved, in your opinion? Why do we all love these guys?
Droids, they have a lot of heart. Also for an actor, you get to really... when your face isn't shown, there's a certain other quality that you really are, as I said, working out of sound, you're working out of your emotion. All the different droids that you see in Star Wars, I think, have that same heart, and it really gives the actor freedom to really just purely do it out of emotion. And, when we're talking about emotion and heart, I'm sorry to say this, Warwick, but I think, the fact that we don't have Anthony Daniels here is a little strange to me.
Well,
I'm sorry. Don't...
But the thing is...
C-3PO...
I know, I acknowledge he was...
the iconic droid of the Star Wars series.
He is.
I'm not sure. Don't you think?
No, he's iconic, but I will say he did have an hour on my stage, more than an hour yesterday. And we heard plenty of stuff. If you were here, you'll remember.
There's
no more to say.
C-3PO, do you think you could ever hear too much C-3PO?
No.
I think.
Listen,
I think we need to have C-3PO here, and I don't know. I don't want. No offense to the show. I'm happy to be here too. I mean, I love Star Wars too, but that's Anthony Daniels, C-3PO.
Listen, right? He's probably busy. He's in the autograph hall. There's probably a couple of fans waiting to have his autograph.
Yeah.
So he'll be busy, but I'll give him a call just to set your mind at rest. But I mean, he's
You
probably
have him on
busy.
speed
I think
dial?
I've got. No, I don't have him on speed dial. No.
Okay.
I'll just dig through my contacts and find him.
Okay.
There we are. Golden boy, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. So anyway. Roger, Roger. Sorry, that was just like.
Warwick? Who's Warwick? Warwick, is that you? It's very noisy. Can you speak? What are you doing? What do you want?
Anthony, it's Warwick, and I'm
Yes,
sure you're probably busy and all that, but...
Yes. Where are you? There's a lot of noise. Where are you?
Oh, well, I'm in a show right now.
Oh, what kind of show?
Well, it's a show all about droids.
Droids?
Yes.
Why wasn't I asked?
Well, you had your full hour yesterday on stage. You've done your show.
How rude!
Oh dear. So there's your answer, Matthew.
Oh, I guess he's not into it. All right. Well, I tried.
Well,
I don't know what else I can talk about. My career is pretty limited. I've only been at Skywalker for 26 years. I don't have really much to talk about.
Right. Well, let's just take another look in at our droid builders, see how they're getting on. See if there's been any progress since we last checked. Oh, look at that. The saran wrap has been used with the polystyrene now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure saran wrap is a usual ingredient in building a droid, but they've got the cable that I gave.
I don't. Is
That's
this Disney
good.
approved?
It's going pretty well. Well done, guys. Keep going. Keep going. Well, Matthew, I will say it's been a pleasure to have you here, and thanks for all you're doing. Good luck with The Last Jedi. We're all very much looking forward to that.
Wish us luck.
Matthew Wood, everyone. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Warwick. Cheers.
Thanks so much. Fantastic. Fascinating stuff. Right, so, as we move on to the next section of the Oh no, it's Anthony. What do I do? Sorry. Hello?
Hello. Warwick?
Ah, yes?
Could I have a word with you?
Yeah, well, Anthony, of course you can, but I'm in the middle of a show right now. When do you want to have a word? When would be a good time for you? When would be a good time? Hello? Hello?
Can I have a word with you, Warwick?
Ooh. Bye. Anthony Daniels, everyone. Take a seat, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
I guess my invitation just got lost in the post.
Yes,
I mean,
but there is one for you. There is an invitation for you. It's somewhere. Not quite sure where it is now.
We just have to sit and wait then. Anyway,
but you,
I'm here.
Anthony, I'm delighted that you're here, actually.
You say
because
that. Why?
You do play the most famous protocol... Hang on. Oh, he's back again. He's back again.
Oh, what?
Yes. Self-healing droid. She's put her legs up. Look. Very good. Oh, look.
What's this for?
It's for you.
It's for me?
Yes, it's your invitation to the show that you didn't get.
At last.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Drive carefully. Mind your legs, everyone. Come. I think I need to get my lawyer on speed dial just in case, but there we go. Anthony, welcome to this show.
Thank you, Warwick.
You are, of course, the most famous protocol droid in existence. Yes. Now, When you were first asked to play this role, I hear you weren't very interested, but something inspired you to do it. What was all that about?
Yes, I think older fans will have heard me talk before about my kind of reluctance to be in a funny little low-budget sci-fi movie in a costume. Because I think I was a very serious actor.
Were you a proper actor?
I was a proper actor.
Doing stage work?
Stage, yes. And then my agent actually pushed me into a meeting with George, and who I'd never heard of, frankly. I'd not seen American Graffiti. I didn't know anything about him. And because this was in London. And I was on stage, but in a theatre very close to 20th Century Fox in Soho Square. So I did, just to please her, go. And I met George. And he, first of all, the first thing I noticed, he was quite short. And I like short people. He said the other day he likes short people. Well, you know.
Most of them.
Not including you. Okay, you're a special thing. But we had quite a flat talk because I actually wasn't really very interested. And then I realized I sort of changed my vision, and behind him on the wall was what I've now learned is called a concept painting, something they get an artist to sort of describe what a scene might look like. And I said, is this the character? And he said, you know, sure. And we kind of walked up to it, and we looked. And I will tell you that looking into Ralph McQuarrie's painting, it moved my spirit. There was, this character just stood so bereft, looking out lonely, like he seemed to be saying, help me, come into the picture with me. You know, has anybody here seen the Mona Lisa in Paris? One of the most famous pictures ever.
Yeah. In
contrast to Ralph McQuarrie's painting, it's nothing. I don't care for that face. I don't care if she's smiling or whatever. Give me 3PO every time.
Tell us about the first time you ever tried on the costume. What was it like?
It was awful.
Was it?
It was absolutely, it was frightening.
For what reason? Because it was so tight? Or?
Because they had spent 6 months making the costume.
Are these your very first steps in the costume? You hadn't quite created the walk there, had you, you see? It's
You're
interesting.
Kidding. I'm amazed.
Look at that. Look how shiny you were back then.
Including a shiny middle. That's really terrifying footage. Because no, literally, that was in a garage at Elstree Studios where we made the original film. And they put all this stuff on me for the first time. We'd done tests of this and whatever, but never the whole thing together. And they'd agreed, the studio had agreed that I would have the costume some weeks ahead of shooting. So I could be in a studio maybe with mirrors and a camera so I could really work out what I was doing. And it came down to that. And I said, well, now can we take the costume? And they said, no, it's got to be packaged up to go to Tunisia. And that was it. That was the only time I had it on until we arrived on Tatooine, and there's a tent with all those pieces laid out in one sort of table. And gradually, over 2 hours, they stuck it on me. And then I walked out and you know, had a great sort of reaction. But then I will admit, can I admit this? I was kind of making it up as I went along. Because I didn't know what to do. I hadn't been able to rehearse in it. And fortunately, the first scene was pretty much, you know, talking about programming binary load lifters, very similar to evaporators in many respects. But, yeah, but I couldn't even get those words out because I was so confused by, you know, I'm standing there and going, and you know, there's Uncle Owen talking about whatever, Giabachi and all that kind of thing. It was terrifying. And gradually, over the days that followed, I did as much practicing as I could by myself and so on. And gradually, I've never admitted this before, but 3PO sort of evolved as we went along because the schedule just moved and moved and moved. So a lot of it was on the fly, as it were.
So it's kind of like you were creating a beautiful painting for us, but kind of improvised at first, and then once you saw the shape coming, you honed in on what was good.
Yeah, and my instinct as an actor and as somebody could do mime was to work out what worked and what I needed to position to make it. I mean, for instance, if I needed to look over there in a shot, there was only this number of degrees of movement of the head, so relative to the shoulders. So if you look carefully, I've already positioned in one way, so I can actually use the full system over there. Do you see? The ways of cheating, frankly. But on the first day, it's coming back to me. I'm kind of in there, and I said to the continuity girl, Liz, could you take a Polaroid picture of me because I don't know what I look like? And she did. She went, and she held it up in front of me so I could really study 3PO's face on my head and kind of understand where I was going with this. It actually was a really confusing moment. Sorry. But it worked out in the end.
It did, absolutely. Absolutely. And then more recently, we're being introduced to more droids into the Star Wars
You can
films.
never have too many droids.
There's some new droids on the block, yeah.
New droids on the block.
I'm sure there's many fans in the room of Chopper. We've got some Chopper fans here. And another new droid. What about BB-8 as well? How do 3PO and BB-8 get along?
They get along absolutely gloriously because, first of all, BB-8 is really, really very polite and sort of courteous to 3PO. And, you know, he's very young, and I think 3PO has a slightly paternal feeling towards him, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely to know. I mean, he's a terrific character, isn't he? I mean, he really is. His little roundness, and he's so sweet, isn't he?
Yeah, and...
it's BB-8, everyone.
BB-8.
Right, actually, Anthony, you might be quite useful here. Since you speak droid, maybe you could help interpret for us. So, BB-8, come over here, fella.
Yeah.
Or is BB-8 a girl?
Oh, hands up who thinks it's a boy. Oh. BB-8, we've done that. We've done that.
I think I've upset
before.
BB-8.
Yeah.
I've upset BB-8 there.
No, BB-8.
Can we have a chat, BB-8?
Yeah.
Right. So, Anthony, you speak droid. So I'm going to ask BB-8 a couple of questions. If you could give us the translation, that'd be great. So,
right.
So BB-8, hello. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. He says how wonderful it is to be with Anthony Daniels again.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, BB-8.
So, BB-8, how do you enjoy all this recognition and love you receive from the fans?
Oh. He says when he was at droid school, he was picked on because he was rather small.
Oh.
Yeah, but now with all the love and affection and just wonderful attention from the fans, his self-confidence has really made him happy.
Oh, that's lovely. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to hear that, BB-8. That's fantastic. And now, BB-8, can you tell us about your latest adventure?
BB-8, spoiler alert, you have to be careful. Okay, yes, yeah. No, be very careful. Walls have ears.
Oh.
Yes, Mickey Mouse ears.
And finally, BB-8, I've been asking all my guests on the show today, why do you think droids are so loved?
Oh.
What do you say?
LPDA.
LPDA, what's that mean?
Loyalty, dependability, personality, and just the right amount of attitude.
Brilliant
Very
answer.
nicely said.
Ladies and gentlemen, BB-8.
Oh, excellent.
Bye.
Oh. Very nice.
Wow.
Why don't you walk over here? Warwick.
Yes.
I'm going to go off with my new friend, if that's all right, because I have fans. You know, and they're waiting for me in another place.
What, you mean you've got to leave?
Yes, I've got to leave because you've got to learn to do a show on your own, Warwick. I can't keep rescuing you. It's time you learn. So I'm going to say goodbye.
Oh, Anthony. Anthony Daniels, everyone. Terrific. Okay. Right. Well, that was unexpected. Great stuff. Okay, let's check in with the droid builders. How are things going back there? Oh. All right. Oh, look, they've got the head going on there. Well, they don't want us to see. They don't want us to see what's happening. It's looking good. Shh, it's secret, yes. There's only a few thousand people watching. Okay, and they're getting the tape ready. Okay, well, we may have something to see for the end of the show. Excellent stuff. Good work. Right. So, let me just check something. Is he gone? I mean, is he really gone this time? Yeah, good. We're all clear. Good. Because he'd flip his golden lid if he knew who was coming out next. Chopper, R2, and 3PO all had cameos in Rogue One. But this droid stole the show. Take a look at the screen.
Congratulations. You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Where Alan ends and K2 begins is sometimes a blur for me.
He kept us laughing and enjoying the process.
Alan would always be throwing in completely random lines that would always make us laugh.
You're right. I should just wait on the ship. C-3PO and R2-D2, the way they played against one another. I'm glad to be one of those elements in this. There's a fresh one if you mouth off again.
Okay, Cat.
Wake up.
Please welcome actor and accomplished voiceover artist, Alan Tudyk. Welcome, Alan. Nice to see you. Good to see you there.
Here. Cheers. Hello.
Very nice. Welcome, Alan. Make yourself comfortable.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what do you make of all this craziness here at Celebration?
This is mental. I love it. I love it. It's brilliant.
So coming into this this world of Star Wars, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I had experienced sci-fi fans in the sci-fi world by doing a show called Firefly back in 2003, where there are a lot of fans. A lot of crossover happening. Wash lives. Through about 3/4 of the movie, and then. So I did know the sci-fi world and going to conventions, but really until I saw the movie put together. Well, no, even when we were shooting the movie, you were there when we were in Jeddah. Just looking around that set, it was amazing how many creatures were there that I don't think all of them ended up in the movie. Just the most beautiful creatures and the art that was put into it and the different characters, their religions are being practiced and all of this life happening. And that's just, it seemed very alive. And we're walking through telling our story and it seems like there's just nothing but stories going on and on and on. And just the level of production value, the artistry and everybody's commitment to it, it was just a whole different level.
I mean, it was a very real experience, you know, for a film that, you know, consists of a lot of CG and effects that are put on afterwards. Actually filming it, though, a lot of the things that we see on screen did actually exist, didn't they, for real?
Absolutely. Remember that big, there was like this big droid that was being dragged by, or I think he was being dragged by this smaller creature who had the little elephant nose. And I mean, I don't even think I saw that in the movie. And he was like a 2-story droid.
Yeah, it was
enormous.
Huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. Now, obviously you're an actor, but did you audition for this role in a conventional way, or how did it come about?
I was called by Gareth. I was asked to do a Skype conversation with him. And I assumed, and I just found this out last night, so I assumed that they called me because I did Sonny and iRobot. So I had been a different motion capture droid before. And they would be, you know, we need a motion capture droid. Give me the motion capture droid guy, that guy, that Sonny guy. And it was that kind of, but then also John Schwartz, the producer, was a huge fan of Firefly, which is so cool. And so he knew me from that. And then also Frank Oz, who played Yoda, is also a great accomplished director, and he had directed a movie called Death at a Funeral that I did, where I'm on drugs in this, like actually the character's on drugs.
Yes, thanks for clearing that up.
Yep. So the character's on drugs and he's going through a lot of mood swings, and there was a scene, the audition scene, that they sent me involved a lot of mood swings. It was a scene that didn't make it into the movie where we were landing on a planet. I think it was the planet that Saw Gerrera lived on, or a moon that had a weird magnetic field around it that scrambled K2.
Oh no!
Going in. So the audition scene was that kind of like, well, we're going, everyone is going to be fine, you know. In 3 seconds, we will be destroyed. And so it's this whole craziness. And I did it in an American accent, and I did it in sort of what I did Sunny in, which was just very pronounced, sort of stuffy American, and then a British accent, which he became. And they said, do that one. And he gave me the job at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. I went and met with him, and then we just talked. And he goes, you want to do it?
Yeah. Well, we're absolutely thrilled you got the part. I mean, and it's down to you that character has become so loved by the fans. Why? What do you think the secret is? I mean, obviously you and your performance, but I mean, he's endearing in so many ways, isn't he, to watch?
Yeah, he was so much fun to play. There was a scene. It's in the movie where he says, "Why does she get a gun, but I don't?" And that line, that sort of petulance, that childlike quality, I really latched onto. And then there was another scene that didn't end up in the movie, but I redid it in that scene where we're looking down on Jeddah. I'm stacking some crates, and Cassian and Jen are walking past, and Cassian goes, "Come on, K2, we're going." And I'm in the middle with the box and just go and throw the box and walk away. And that's when Jen handed me her thing, that I just let it drop. That I love that he doesn't follow rules, he does what he wants to. And that kind of carried through, and Gareth was very much into us improvising and finding things. And
tell us a little bit about the filming process. I mean, how were you transformed from Alan to K2SO?
Well, when I go to work, I would take off the spandex unitard I wore to work, which I tend to wear. Yeah. And I put on a different spandex unitard that they provided me. It had a lot of little triangles and numbers on it. It was a really cool one, having worn a couple before. And then I put on stilts, which were ski boots. It was ILM made these stilts, so they were really easy to walk on. They were the lightest weight ski boots that had then a prosthetic leg and foot off the bottom, and it was an athletic foot that had a lot of bounce in it. So it was pretty easy to get used to, and that's how I looked. That was it, and that was K2 walking around on set.
Fantastic. Well, we got some behind-the-scenes footage now of you at work. Let's take a look.
Cheers.
Doesn't sound so bad to me.
I haven't seen this scene. What happens here? Little Planet of the Apes. Oh yeah. Big black. I wore those every once in a while. A little con man sticker on there. There we go.
Now, this was filmed at a tube station in London, wasn't it?
Yeah. Tube station at night. Oh my God, it was so crazy. We had to get it all done in the night, and so we were running around. That was our first day of shooting. That's in Jordan, and that's my silly backpack that I couldn't stand. That Diego made fun of me the entire time when I wore it. No one respects you anymore on this film that you wear this. He's so much fun.
Oh, sorry, that was the fuel. Shit.
Did using that become second nature in the end, though?
These things?
Yeah.
Never.
Oh.
They were. I did get better shoulder muscles, though. That was cool. Whoops.
Rockets are in the wild. It's still the end of the world. 19 minutes later.
Fabulous.
Jordan.
Fabulous.
Cheers. Cool.
That's such a candid and unique look behind the scenes at the making of a film. It's fabulous. And, you know, I certainly know it's true, but I mean, it's such a great experience, such a rewarding and a fun experience as well, isn't it?
Yes. I got to live in London for 6 months, which for you, I'm sure, is that's where you live, right?
Yeah.
But God, living in London for 6 months was great. We went to Jordan. We went to the Maldives, which didn't end up in the movie, but it was so great because, I mean, my stuff in the Maldives didn't end up there.
So you had a holiday, basically.
Exactly.
Lovely.
We lived on boats, and so it was kind of like camping. Everybody would eat at the same table and get up and eat breakfast. And I went home one night, and there was a whale shark swimming outside of our boat, and I got to swim with the whale shark one night.
Wow.
It's a pretty good perk, an on-job perk.
Fabulous.
Go back to your hotel and swim with a whale shark.
Now, Alan, why do you think it is droids are so loved?
I don't know. I love them. I love them, so what is it? Is it that they're kind of like pets? Kind of. They own them. People own them a lot of times. So like I'm Cassian's, sort of, right? Like Cassian reprogrammed me from an Imperial droid, and I think of him as like a father or like a youth counselor, you know, but one of the good ones, I think it's because they're sort of, they do support you. He's not friendly to everybody, but he is definitely committed to Cassian. And they do provide a lot of the heart. Definitely in Rogue One for K2SO. There's a lot of, I don't know, there's some darkness in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, it gets pretty dark. And to have a droid there who just can be very pragmatic and speak his honesty, and sometimes it's the honesty of the moment, you know, that if it's, you know, Cassian said, I had to. You know, everybody's like, we're all going to be heroes. He's like, I'm coming too. Cassian said, I had to. You know, it's not, you know, he's a droid. He can kind of, he has his own logic. And
I think we really empathise with the character, and you know, it was interesting that you know, unusually for a droid, you had a death scene, didn't you see? But I remember watching the film and being, oh no, and I felt emotion for what is essentially some bits of metal and servos and things.
Well, there was a lot more in there than just metal.
No offence,
like you know.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hold on. My God, it's Anthony again. Hello, Anthony. Yeah, I'm still in my show.
Yeah, Warwick.
Yes.
It's very disturbing. I hear you've got a fake droid on stage. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of fakery around. You know how worried I am about autographs and so on. And suddenly you have the nerve to put in front of this delightful audience. You just have any old rubbish on stage, people who pretend to be robots and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
It just worries me very, very much. So I think I have to come
Anthony,
back.
Anthony, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Somebody who looks a lot like you is walking through my auditorium.
Yeah, Warwick, yeah. That rather handsome chap, yes, yeah. Oh, is this the fake droid they're talking about?
Fake?
Yeah, okay.
Alan,
Where are my
I'm so
stilts?
sorry about
I
this.
think my stilts.
Have this man arrested. Okay.
Anthony Daniel.
He's back again.
What a cheap trick.
Wow. Welcome back again.
I told you, you can't do it without me, Warwick.
Well,
That's it.
since you're here, I have got a good question for
What's
you.
that?
What did you think of Alan's portrayal of K2SO?
Well, now, how long have we got?
I met you, didn't I, at, where was that place, the big shed thing in the middle of nowhere, where they used to house blimps. Anyway.
Yeah. When we were shooting Rogue One.
That's right.
It was, big hangar.
A big hangar. And you came and interviewed me because you just needed to know, you told me I was the inspiration for your art and that you wanted to know how to be a robot.
Did you say that?
Not really.
I asked for a cup of tea, and you're like, that's not me.
That's right. We met backstage, and it was great fun. You kind of outlined that you were going to have more attitude than 3PO, and I was already jealous. And then, of course, I asked you the question, and then I was really jealous.
About whether or not I was going to be wearing a practical costume or, evidently, a fake costume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fake is a four-letter word that starts with F.
Okay. There are children present. But you know, watching that footage now, I was amazed just how much clutter you did have to have on. It wasn't easy, was it?
No. The stilts would hurt about hour 10. That's nothing for you.
Although Anthony did tell me that he was jealous of your spandex.
You don't know what I've got underneath 3PO. Oh, yes.
What is going on underneath there?
It'll be on eBay very, very shortly. Lots of little itchy wires and so on. But I loved your character because you did have, you know, he's slightly ambivalent about humans because are they better or not quite so talented or whatever. But you have no hesitation in like dissing anything that pisses you off, right?
Yeah, he's great like that.
Yeah.
There was a scene that was cut. There was also somebody tells K2 to carry some things, and he just says, no.
Whereas 3PO would say, yeah, that's not going to be possible, sir. I'm afraid. 3PO is always apologizing. I don't think your character would ever apologize.
He apologizes. He apologizes to Cassian after he slaps him.
If 3PO and K2SO had a battle of wits, who would win? You might want to, you could act out this conversation if you want now.
That's a terrible thing to say, how dare you.
I don't know how long the wits would go on with K2.
Well, they never appear. What did you say? I'm sorry, can you speak? Was that your English?
He would just poke you.
Yes, he would, because he's a man of, he's a droid of few words. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, he'd say,
you didn't have many lines to learn, did you? You didn't.
I was a lot of just this.
Really?
There were some, but.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. Uh-oh, look out. Mind your legs, everyone. Ooh. What's this?
Is this
a note here and some mints here. Anybody want a mint?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
At the end of the show here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, are you going to eat that cookie?
No, do you want it?
Yep.
Oh.
No. I won't have the cookie, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like some cookie?
No. Some of us have to keep slim to get back in our suit.
Good work. Well, that note, I'm afraid, says we're out of time. But before we finish, let's just check in one last time on the droid builders. Maybe they could present their creation. Do we have have you finished? You got something you can bring on? Oh, looking good. Looking good. Frankendroid. Yes. Marvelous creation there. An Ewok merged with a droid. Yes. Wonderful. What do you think of that? Huh?
I love it. Do you want to put the hairdress on again?
No, I don't. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my very special guests, Mr. Alan Tudyk and Anthony Daniels. This has been the most marvelous Droid Fest. And to finish it off, let's welcome some droids onto the stage.
Thank you, sir.
BB-8.
Oh.
There's Chopper.
From everywhere.
Wow. Come on, Chopper. R2-D2. Look at this. They're all here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. There's loads more to come at Celebration. Mark Hamill coming on with this stage very soon. But in the meantime, farewell and may the Force be with you. Bye-bye. Look at this.